The Times have made Vine. She then sweetens the deal with information of one of her numerous companies facing legal troubles. Mundane stuff. Nothing proper registration couldn't handle, but she has searched for a trusted lawyer to represent her interests, all to no avail. Slit eyes or not, I know a bribe when I see one. After exchanging parting pleasantries, I take my leave. After chanting to my oracle for the next 21 days, my juju, and receiving no direction as to what my next line of action should be, I set out to the ancestral juju man's hut to lay my complaints. This simply isn't working. There has to be some other way. As a lawyer, I'd have preferred to be referred to a certain case, say federal government versus Paul Simon, or something of that nature, which would build up my argument as to who the next king would be, not this tirade to dried leaves and dead feathers, which have gotten me nowhere and yielded absolutely nothing. On getting to his place, I barge in without fear or harm from the gods. I'm upset, and I am their messenger, here on assignment. The juryman turns around, startled to see me, as I begin to rant, trying to gain his attention. "Ameri Fonu," I utter. Baffled as to why I let that out, I carry on with the indelicate mention. "I don't understand this business. I do everything I ought, and I still get no direction." The jujuman glares at me angrily, making me remember my manners. I quickly revert to my obeisance, sprinkling of the sprinkling on the ground of the white chalk, then the red chalk, the smearing of the face with the paste, all while praising my ancestors and bowing at least a dozen times. "That name. Why did you say that name?" he responds, appeased. "What name?" "Amenrifonu." "Oh, that." Just bubbled to my lips. "And yet you seek confirmation from the gods?" "I was just with Madame Amelifonu. It's only logical that her name will come to me." His back is turned to me again as he resumes his rituals. From all indication, he's done with me. As I storm out of his shrine, chalk smeared face and suit in a ruffle, he throws over his shoulder. "It is little wonder you have been chosen by the gods. You are perfect for it. Your disregard for their sovereignty only serves their purpose. You want little or nothing to do with the throne or our ways, and that is why it has been required of you by the gods to be a finger to point. These serve to one and the same end. Mr. Melifono has a nephew in Lagos mainland. He runs a business down there. Start with him again. A proper place to retrace my steps indeed. In no time, Mrs. Admelifon will ensure I climb up the ladder till I get to one of her sons. Just from impressions alone, I dislike Mrs. Admelifon. All the same, I guess going to her nephew would draw a little less bile. Patrick Amelifon's establishment is not a big one, but isn't small by my accounts. A young graduate mechanical engineer, he toned the line of enterprise rather than opt for corporate Nigeria. He set up his own purchasing and installation plant, servicing the electrical generators most of the banks need to stay in business in the ever epileptic power supply situation we find ourselves in Nigeria. The work is manual, strenuous, and messy, all at the same time. Vigorous young men move, dismantle, rectify, and put back together huge diesel generating sets in record time. Pools of engine oil collect here and there, and the smell is a mixture of everything concerned with heavy duty equipment. Although altogether not unpleasant, I still wouldn't want to come to work to this every day. Patrick is in resplendent white, indicative that he doesn't do any of the dirty work. Though way down in the American totem pole, he's still a tad higher than I in the grand scheme of things where our beautiful town is concerned. Berted with a powerful last name, His iodine would displace my xenon on our periodic table, I remember with some secondary school humor. Still, he will be considered an upstart to the high and mighty, as he, like I, has at one time or the other benefited from his powerful family name, even if only from our great secondary school. To his credit, Patrick is a brilliant mechanical engineer and seemed to know what every part of those machines did. He jibbed a harsh, "Tighten that correctly. No, not that way," as we strode through his workshop while he tugged on his trousers, pulling away from the pools of oil in order not to get them stained. It is no doubt a show of a future king, whipping his subjects into line. I shuffled quietly behind him, with nicks in my newly shaven head from my last visit to the shrine. We walked past a lowly young man whom Patrick seemed to pay little mind. I see Patrick's face contort in disgust, then look away, just as quickly as the emotion came. He's scraping soot from what seems to be a covering to a part of a machine. What really caught my attention were his meticulous hands, for he did not knock away at the soot, almost chipping the metal, in the same way as the other technicians were wont to do. He scraped away gently at it instead and lovingly sponged it over with petrol as a solvent. A little too much care, some would remark. What also struck me was the disdain Patrick had for him, and that kept me looking back as we passed. Staring at his hands, I caught a glimpse of his face as he walked. Just before we exited the workshop, I see him clearly. It seems he has borrowed some of the facial features of the Amelifonus and had etched strife and hunger lines into them. And I turned around as his eyes caught mine. "Patrick, are you and this man and you are you and this young man related?" "Yes, it's Diachi, my cousin," Patrick says with irritation in his voice. "You knew not what became of his parents after they left the clan years ago, searching after religion, only to be saddled with this responsibility about 2 years back. Oh well, family is family," he added with bile. "Come here, Diachi, and greet our kingsman," he ordered. Diachi gets up and searches around for something to clean his hands with. Standing upright, he walks to me, and I see a man, down on his luck, but had seemingly retained his pride and self-esteem through a rough station in life. Put a piece of pepper in his mouth. Let him speak that fire. As these words bubble to my lips, I don't hesitate. I need not hear the custodian's voice a second time. I have confirmation. As he gets to me, I reach into my pocket, pull out a piece of pepper kept on me at all times for this very purpose, and stick it in between his lips. Any man from where I'm from knows exactly what this means, and that includes Patrick. He glares at Diachi in disbelief, then anger, then fear. He gets on his knees before Diachi, soaking his trousers in black engine oil. I do the same to the puzzle of all the workers around. It's dead silent now. Even the machines have refused to chime. Diachi looks down at me, starry-eyed with fear in them. He wouldn't entertain fear for long. A joyous, fearless thing to be king. A joyous, fearless thing to be a god. I whisper up back at him. I make a hasty retreat. There's a coronation to plan after all. The end.